From a car to a bicycle, a handshake to a bow, and a fork to chopsticks. Our next guest decided to pen her experiences in her latest book entitled, How Do You Use These Darn Chopsticks? And joining us this morning is Tracy-Ann Hyman. Hey, Tracy-Ann, morning. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Morning. Thank you. Morning to your viewers. Thank you.
All right. So this book is centered in your experience in Japan.
Yes.
First of all, what you was doing in Japan, please and thanks?
I was pursuing a master's degree, right? But Europe was where I wanted to go. I wanted to dine, to do fine dining and travel across Europe. So Japan was the last thing on my mind. It was my plan B. I applied for an Erasmus Mundus scholarship to go to Europe. It didn't work out. I'd applied to Japan and Japan worked out. And so I had a short space of time in which to get everything together and get to Japan for October 2008.
Wow. Arriving there, what were some of the early challenges for you that we get to see in this book?
The first thing, when I went into my apartment, it was very small. I don't know how two persons would live in there, but I mean, I live by myself, but these are apartments where persons live in, more than one person. When I opened the bathroom door and I saw the bath, I was in shock. It was like, like a container, and a shipping container, you cut off the top of it.
Yes.
That was supposed to be my bath. And I learned after a while, it's called an ofuro. And there's a special way of bathing, but Tracy did not bathe that way. Tracy go into the container and bathe and put up and bathe a morning time. You're really supposed to bathe you're supposed to soak up on the outside.
And then step in.
And then you step in and you soak. But we never did. That's the part of the culture. That one we never really abide by.
So there's so much that you capture in this, not just those tidbits about the culture. You tell us a little bit about climate, about geography, about the environment. What is your goal? Is this about many of us who, well, no, I've been to Nagano, but people who have never been to Japan and want to experience what it's like? Is this what the book is about?
It is. It's for the avid reader who is interested in new cultures and finding out about new cultures. But there are some key lessons and messages from the book about adjusting to culture and learning how to adapt to change. Right now, we're going through a situation here with COVID-19 change. How do you deal with change? I had to deal with change there. It's also a story about coming into your purpose and finding your identity as a person. Because after all, you're in a different country, a different culture. You look different.
Yeah.
So these are some of the lessons that are supposed to come from the book. And the overall main message is that, because I used the chopsticks, which was very difficult for me to use, to eat with. I'm used to a knife and fork. And I'm here having to eat with two wooden sticks. And so the whole point is that there was struggle, culture shock, difficulty to use these sticks in the beginning. But eventually I had to learn to adapt. And eventually I mastered them. So that is the overall lesson, that you have to learn that change will come and how do you master change.
Yeah.
And I actually had that.
And how do you adjust to certain things? I mean, we hear the word earthquake this side of the world and PTSD. But yes. Every time I see folks in Japan reference, oh, I felt an earthquake today, or there was another earthquake today, or oops, there goes an earthquake. I'm like, why are they making it sound like one odd breeze just blow?
That's a very good question, because when I just got there and I went to classes and the building was shaking and person just remained normal. Because remember, I'm coming from a hurricane culture, right? Yes. So I'm in and the building shaking, everybody working, and I'm looking around going, people just continue working. I said, oh, it's considered normal. That took me, I don't know if I really adjusted to that, but, can you imagine that you're in, I remember another time I was at home and the place was shaking, and I'm trained in disaster management as well. So for me, automatically, I'm looking from underneath the bed, I'm looking for a door jam, and just amazing that they just see it as normal. So when the 2011 Tohoku earthquake came and I was there, that was a high point for me, because that was where I came face to face with crisis directly. I had learned the language eventually, could not remember a drop of Japanese during that time.
Wow.
A pure patois me a chat.
Ha ha.
No pure English, right? Can't. It's like the words were gone. I was scratching all over my body. Don't know where these pains were coming from during that time. So it was a way of preparing me, and I highlight the earthquake in the book as a high point and how I was able to maneuver that time.
Yeah. There's so many things that we see about the Orient and hair. Our Orientalism is skewed by what we read and watch. Do you see this book as one of the things that will be a corrective of that?
Definitely. Because the food is great down there. So sometimes we may have stereotypes or maybe phobias, of certain places. But trust me, what I say is when you go there and experience it, one thing to hear about it, but another thing to experience it. And I think I needed to experience that. And realize that, there are great things. The food is good. The people are polite. Their work ethic is great. Respect for one another as citizens is great. An ordered society. Yes, every society has its challenges.
Yeah. We'll ask Tracy-Ann for a bit. I'm not sure.
There are challenges there, but I learned a lot, and I think it gave me a more better perspective of it. Yes.
Yeah, it's always great to view other cultures and see the ways how people experience life. What I like about the book, Tracy, is the language is easy, not simple, but easy. And so, this can be teenagers, adults who are able to read it. It's not difficult for the type of audience. It's a broad range. Where can we get our hands on the book?
I didn't hear that.
You lost me a second. I was asking where can we get our hands on it?
Amazon, that's the first place.
Yes.
All right. And you have your paperback copy and your ebook copy. And then it's going to be coming in certain pharmacies, right? Not yet. But in the meantime, if you want to have a direct copy, please call me on 876-446-3648.
Yes.
And remember, you have persons who will be preparing to go to Japan now, October coming up. Because their semester starts in October. This is a perfect gift for them, perfect read to prepare them when they're going over to Japan, whether it's to work, study, or do business.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy. By the way, Tracy pursued a Master's of Sustainability Science degree at the University of Tokyo. Yeah. Awesome. Nice meeting you, Tracy. And I'm glad you penned the book. It's important. And thank you for sharing your experience. All right. That's Tracy-Ann Hyman. Thank you so much for joining us. Author of How Do You Use Those Darn Chopsticks? Kayan, can you just give me 1 second? It's important. One is say happy birthday to